but just a reminder that you can only take photos for the first 5 minutes of this panel.
Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome. It is day 2, Oz ComicCon 2019. Have you guys had a good time so far? Have you met some amazing guests? Have you seen some amazing panels? All right, who wants to talk about Shadowhunters?
I'm a wanted man. I got blood on my hands. Do you understand? I'm a wanted man.
Alberto, Rosende, and Dominic, Sherwood! Hi, you guys, Shadowhunters! Welcome back. I'm glad you guys came back for day 2.
Yes.
Are you guys having a good time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is it fun? Sort of. You even have family and friends around.
I do, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Somewhere in the audience, scrutinizing my every move.
yeah. Isn't that what family's for, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Absolutely. So the thing about Shadowhunters is there's so much mythology in the show. And I mean, it's just like so intertwined. It's crazy. You almost need like a map to just follow it. Was there ever a point as actors where you guys were sort of lost in the mythology and like couldn't really pinpoint where you were?
You just go to season 1, didn't get any of it.
No, I remember because I was reading the books, season 1, I was always like someone that, you asked me a lot of questions mythology-wise, like, so where does this happen in the books and this and this? And then as we started to stray, it did get a little more...
A little clearer for sure, yeah. The whole dichotomy with the owl was quite confusing for a while because thank you, that one person who enjoyed it.
I was, you know what? I was
appreciate it.
actually
Thank you
going to
very much.
ask, like, that was such a crazy twist in storyline. So to sort of talk about how that came about. How did you learn?
So I learned about it, and I think a lot of you know this story, but I learned about it because it was when I was reading the first script and we sat down at the table read, and I was like, this character's awesome. And the showrunner leant over and went, that's you. And I was like, oh, what? That's it. But it was interesting. So we worked really, really hard on making him stand differently and walk differently and talk, or not. Eventually, when he did talk, and what we tried to do more and more is make him look and walk and talk and move and fight like Will Tudor's version of Jonathan. Because if Lilith were going to fabricate the sort of perfect soldier, it would have been her beloved Jonathan. So he stood a little taller and he was sort of more like graceful and almost balletic in certain ways. So we worked on that really, really hard. And then there was like a couple of little ticks that came from Jace's side of things. So yeah. What?
I'm watching you up there.
Oh, okay.
More interesting.
It's a good view, isn't it?
Everyone looks better on TV. Well, I can't see me, but yeah, you know. Yeah, you're right, it is. It's better.
Yeah. We should just do this from now on.
That's neat. You can see the back of my head. Okay, so just so you guys know how TV works, we see that too.
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah, incredible. The world of fantasy.
so you really worked hard on creating that, like a different iteration.
Yeah, make him entirely different to sort of not only throw off the audience, but then also to make it a very different character for me to play as well, which got more and more confusing because whilst I was playing the owl, I would use my British accent because Will's Jonathan was British. And then when I was Jace, I would snap back to my American accent, which was fine for the first week or so.
Right.
And then they started having me film in the morning as the owl and then in the afternoon as Jace, so I'd have to switch halfway through. And then I think there were a couple of days where it was like, go and do the owl, go back, get changed, get wiped down, put your runes on, be Jace. And they were like, we missed something. Go put the owl mask back on.
hardest day of filming on the show for either of you? Was there one day where it really sticks out? Could have been a day like that.
One of the owl ones that, whilst we're on that topic, that was really rough. It was we were sort of still learning the mask and the costume, and it was
Okay.
all custom made, and it was beautiful. But we had rain towers that day. It was the first time with poor Tim Dempsey, that nurse that he was a really good actor, and he had one
Great guy.
episode and got possessed and then died, and that was it. But so he was doing really well, bless him. And what we figured out fairly early on is that the mask let in rain at the top, but not out at the bottom. Just sort of midway through takes, like, I think I'm going to drown. Like, it's sort of watching water fill up this mask, which is insane. And then the way the owl sort of went through his possession was just like kneel over people, which is fine in genes that have some sort of stretch to them. And let me tell you, those did not. So literally first thing that happens is I go down and sort of, I don't know if you've ever seen a surprised owl, but it was like, and everyone's like, is everything you good? And I stand up, and I hadn't thought about it at all, but I was wearing bright orange boxers. Like thank God I was wearing some, to be honest. But like bright orange, and I stand up, sort of this like dejected, like, and I've ripped from like here to here, and they just go, "Oh, costume." And they only had the one pair, so they had to duct tape me back into these jeans.
Oh my gosh.
Which obviously, because it was raining, the duct tape wouldn't stick to the pants, so it ended up being, to me, sort of taped my trousers back onto me. And if you watch that scene, what they came to terms with was the fact that all of it's going to be waist up. Like, there's no... Oh, yeah, because I wore sweats by the end of it. They kept falling off, and they were just like, put some sweatpants on. So I've got, like, grey, like, Adidas sweats on.
And no leg hair still.
No, yes,
To this
still
day,
to
no
this
leg
day. No leg hair whatsoever.
It's wiped out.
Yeah.
That was better than waxing, you could say. Yeah. Alberto, you talked about the books. Were you a fan of the books before you auditioned for the show?
No, I didn't know any of the material before.
Okay, so neither of you had seen the movie either, the 2013?
I'd seen the movie. I'd seen the movie
Okay.
for sure,
I remember
yeah.
hearing about when the movie came out and seeing the trailer for that and being like, okay, that looks interesting. And that was my connection to it when I got the audition. Was like,
Okay.
oh, okay, I remember this movie. That's interesting. They're making a show. And then when the audition got serious, so after that round where you kind of just see a casting director and I went to LA, that's when I started reading the books and kind of like fell into this hole where I read them super quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as the stories diverged, is there something that was in the books that you feel like you would have really liked to have seen gone to the screen?
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. There were more moments of Simon's mundane life in the beginning with his friends, like Eric and Clary, and then and then also like, he had one friend. It's a joke, but we also got to see like in the books. The way that Simon and Jordan meet is that Jordan auditions to play to be Simon's lead singer of his band.
Okay.
And I wish that we got to see that instead of Simon's like one-man band, which I'm so happy we got to see. But
Right.
that whole world would have been cool. Yeah.
That would have been really cool. Yeah. Yeah. Anything, did you, I mean, you obviously didn't read the books, but was there ever a moment?
I read the
that-
first one. Just throwing me
Obviously.
under the bus.
No. I mean, in a good way. Sometimes as an actor, you don't want to have that.
It's tricky. It was tricky. I think the one thing that Alberto you used to talk about a lot was like the war, like the big war that happens, and that was something that we were all like,
at the
wow,
end of
that'd
book
be cool.
3,
Yeah.
that giant battle that happens in Idris, like that would have been.
Would have been
lit.
awesome, but turns out expensive, so we didn't do
Right.
it.
More expensive than the owl.
Yeah. Do more expensive than the drowning mask. Which, yeah.
So at the end, the very end of the last, 2-part episode, we see Jace and he, looks at Clary, and there seems to be that recognition almost. Am I right to be hopeful about that?
I think so. Yeah, I think the whole point of that scene was to develop this kind of cyclical storytelling that it sort of is almost restarting back from where it was, but then a continuation of where her memories could be and could flourish and come back and be her future with Jace. And I think that was the theory is to leave it in a very hopeful place.
And I think hope is one of the main themes of the show. Now looking back on it and having like hope is what got Izzy. What?
I said this in the meet and greet.
I don't remember this. Did you?
Verbatim.
No.
No? No?
Who was in the meet and greet? Did he say this? Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
But you know what? There were only 10 of them there, so, or, 20, however many. People would love to hear. Go ahead.
Pick the right stage to say it. 'Cause I got sort of this very minimal group, and everyone else is going to be like, Alberto's so poetic.
No, just it's one of the main themes of the show. So
Hope.
yeah, I think they pick it up again at the end.
And yet your character seemed to resolve himself without Clary, you
Yeah.
know, and let that go and let her go in a way. And so how did you sort of come to that resolution?
I think he had no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew that the owl, not the owl, the owl could come back.
The owl was watching.
The angels, personally, they're kind of scary. Also, if they have the ability to take away a power that they gave you, like that, to me, that felt very like, I don't want to trust them. So honestly, if they said, don't mess with Clary now that she's gone, I want to follow that to make sure that she continues to at least live and have a life, although that I might not be a part of it anymore. Simon's had to accept that once, so I think accepting that again was a little bit easier the second time, maybe.
Yeah. What you guys both have extensive, stunts and fights and training. I want to hear a little bit about the training versus actually filming the scenes. Did you have an intense training regime?
Go on.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go on.
No,
Please, you.
No, you go.
No, go on.
You train more, so you should go.
We have an hour.
Yeah,
We
well, I
keep
can do this
doing
all day.
for an
I can do this
hour.
all day.
I know.
Yeah, so
Are you going to do the thing?
No.
So with the training, I think that. Yeah. So I think the training was very intense for me and Kat, especially from sort of the get-go. And we would do at least 3 sessions a week with like some version of the martial arts instructors, whether it was taekwondo or boxing or Kali or sword training or kendo or whatever it was. We would do something during that time, and then normally we get given sort of about an hour and a half session the day before or a couple of days before we do the fight scene to learn the choreography. And then, yeah, we get on set and we do it.
Same experience?
no, I had to practice getting kidnapped a lot in season 1.
A lot of time upside down.
A lot of time
New,
upside
yeah.
down.
Right.
And then we did work out a lot with Nuno as well. That was something, season 1, Dom and I got in the gym right away. Season 2, Simon's vampire. So I got really in shape for that. And then
Right.
You got 2 in shape.
I got 2 in shape.
This is a very interesting story. He's being very humble. But he came back for like the beginning of season 2 and we were all like... to the point where the producers were like, dude, you're too big. Like you gotta
stop
you
doing
gotta,
that.
You gotta slow down. And literally all of us, even like Harry, who's in the most amazing shape out of all of us, was just... What? It's like, he was great.
It was awesome, but then I realized it's like that's where like the actor has to come in and be like, no, what's right for the character, not what's
Right.
right for like your own. What do you like? This Simon, it couldn't be like that. So yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, Simon, there's a sense of like, I don't know, he has a real genuineness about him, and I think he's relatable in a way. So I can understand where maybe that dynamic of being extremely fit was a little bit, different. Well, we're going to open it up for the audience to ask some questions. So we'll bring up the lights a little bit. You guys know the drill. Raise your hand and someone with a mic will come around. And while they're getting themselves organized, do either of you guys have a sort of defining artistic moment in your career, or maybe someone that influenced you as an artist? Something that sticks out?
I think, and this is going to be really embarrassing because I know she's somewhere here, but my mum has been a role model for me my entire life. She's the single strongest woman that I've ever met in my entire life, and has always been the person to me that if I'm struggling or not getting to where I'm wanting to be, or going on hundreds of auditions and getting no's, she's always the one who's like, no, this is what you want to do, this is what you're good at, this is your passion, you should keep going. So thanks to you, Mum.
Thanks, Mom. I love that.
Wherever you are, I don't know. You all kind of look like dots at the moment. I can't really see anything.
This was just a helpful scene that helped define the importance of what we do. I talked about it in the meet and greet. There was a scene in season 2 where Clary approaches Simon, asking him to register as a downroller to the clave. And then Simon uses that moment to kind of teach her about history, teach her about his Jewish culture and why he has to say no. and why we can't allow that to happen. That scene for me was very important, as playing a Jewish character where tradition and passing that on is extremely important. And then also politically, it was happening at the same time. We were shooting that scene at the same time that Trump announced his first attempt at the travel ban. So there was this real world importance about this idea and this knowledge that needs to be passed on. There was this huge significance in what the Clave was asking and why, even though Clary had the best intentions, why it couldn't happen. And then as an actor, to get to have that many-leveled scene, it was a cool moment, because you don't get those often, where I felt that, oh, this is something that needs to be done correctly because it's so important.
Right. It's a mirror, holding up a mirror to
exactly.
real
And then also
events.
being the chisel behind it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to open it up. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So how would you describe the relationship between Simon and Jace throughout the series?
Throughout all 3 series?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's say tenuous at the beginning. I think the main reason what happened there, I really struggled. I think the main reason that Jason Simon didn't initially get on was this sort of this like rock in the water that was Clary. They were both madly in love with this same person. The reality is, and we saw this at the end, and it took us going through 3 seasons of relationship, but like they have always had a huge amount of respect for each other. In fact, Jace even says it when he's not allowed to lie. He says that, like, oh yeah, it was a good thing he's tougher than he looks. I always respected him, and I'm like, oh good. But yeah, I think the relationship has really always been there, and they both kind of fought against it. But like when they needed each other, they were both there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Hi. What's your favorite what?
Wrong person.
Rune.
Wrong person. Wrong
Oh,
person.
wrong person. That's okay. We can do that quickly. Favorite rune.
I
I like the idea of a healing rune, because you fall, you drink too much, you
The
can
hangover would
heal
be
yourself.
good. Like
yeah.
if you could, yeah,
Healing rune.
that'd be pretty neat.
But
That'd be pretty
it was a
good.
different question.
The healing one.
Oh, there was
someone else.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, we'll get to everyone's question, hopefully.
Right.
So go ahead and now you can ask yours.
Hi, I was just wondering, what were your thoughts on the Magnus and Alec wedding?
Oh, the good one though, not the
first one.
Yeah, the proper one. It was. We mentioned this again earlier in the meet and greet, that it was not only so wonderful because it was a culmination of stories that there was a bit of fluff in front of my face. Sorry, it was like going in my eyes. It was like this wonderful culmination of a story that we've all followed. Like as actors and as storytellers, and then also as audience members, we followed this character's like love blossom and turn into something that we always hoped would be an everlasting love between the two of them. And not only that, but it was right at the end of filming the end of the show, so it was real. It was a really beautiful culmination of everything that we've been working towards, and a real stamp on not just their story but everyone's story. That was like that sort of we'd all been working towards it.
And
for
we
a
were all
while.
in the same room, and we got
Yeah, it was beautiful, really beautiful. Which, by the way, in front of like what I can imagine is a room full of Malik fans. Can you imagine if we were like, I didn't like it, hated it, didn't like it?
Thank you for that. Both your questions over there. Hi.
Which Shadowhunter couple do you ship the most?
Wait, Dominic will say it on the count of 3. On the count of 3?
Yeah,
Will you give us a 3 count?
1. Or let's do 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Sizzy.
Malik. Oh. No, whatever. That's fine.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for
There you
that.
go.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Up here in the
Hello,
back. Hi.
Up top.
Hi.
Hi.
A while back, Dom, you talked about like a really good prank that you did, but you couldn't say what it was because it would spoil season 3. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You talk. It would have been a spoiler for season 3.
Yeah.
But now season 3's done. So what's that
I don't
prank,
know.
Dom?
Did I do it? I don't remember. I wasn't. Oh. maybe it was the. I don't think I can say that one. Mostly just because it's kind of gross. And it also ended up not happening. I ended up not doing it. It was more sensible than that. So, yeah. Sorry.
We pretty much left the pranks in season 1.
Yeah, like by the time we got to season 3, and again, this is something that we've mentioned to some people earlier, but by the time we got to season 3, everything was much more serious. Like the stakes were higher, acting-wise, and everyone was going through, character-wise, like a much wider array of emotions. So it was more serious, and it was more time to sort of buckle down and less time to mess about. I almost said.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't. Nope. I didn't this time. That's great. I didn't. That whole question was based around the fact that I didn't spoil something. They said that you couldn't tell us because you didn't spoil anything. So there you go.
Thank you for that. Thank you. All right. Hi.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you didn't play the characters that you have. This is for both of you. What character would you would have liked to have played?
Does this have to fit with like who we are as actors, or can it be any character?
Any character.
You know, the cool thing is there are a few characters that have really cool journeys, especially at specific points. And I think I've answered this question this way before once, where I was like, I would love to play Isabel when she's going through her whole addiction / when she's coming out of it and finding that strength within herself. I'd love to play Maris when she's coming to that understanding of accepting love. You know, there's so many pieces in the show, but if I had to pick one, I think Magnus would be the most fun. Like I think we all saw Harry have so much fun.
But then also, like, a sort of fairly daunting feat as an actor, having already watched Harry do it really well. You know what I mean? Like, because right now, having seen what he's done, my answer would be anyone but Magnus. There's no way I'm trying to step into those shoes.
I mean, you had an awesome awesome moments of high and low, and
so did you. Season 1, your journey was dope. Like, from mundane to like the burial and the resurrection, and then like the isolation and the loneliness. Oh, it was pretty rough, actually.
Yeah, but then the same with you, where you don't know your family, and then you kind of lose like a connection to them, and then you fall in love with this amazing girl, and then she's your sister, and then she's not your sister. And then,
So confusing.
And then your dad, who's not your dad, is a jerk.
Why did we sign on for this show?
No.
But you know what? You brought up a good point. Is I think that the cast was so perfectly cast. Although it's fun to think about, it's hard to imagine anybody playing the roles, other than the people who did. So.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great question.
Thank you. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, can you act out your favorite emojis?
Act out your favorite. Come on.
That's a new one.
Act out your favorite emoji. Maybe just a facial expression. We're going to go with just the little, faces.
Well, no, because mine's the poo one.
I can...
How do I act that out?
I'll give you guys a 3 count.
I'm not...
All right. Do you want a 3 count for this? Same time?
No.
Trying to help you out.
I don't know how to act this one out, but it's the one with the glasses where he's kind of like cheekily smiling.
That was good.
I do the heart eyes one a lot, but I only have 2 hands, so here, do like... Why would you do it? Just do a heart. Yeah, like that. That one.
I love that emoji.
That's my favorite.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
did Cassandra Clare have any influence on the show at all?
She visited set once during season 1 and like met all of us, and it was really cool to kind of get her blessing. But no, as soon as the show started, she had no influence other than the fact that she created all of the source material.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, except for all of it, basically.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hi.
I've got a question for Dom in terms of...
Nice.
Hi. So Jace lost Clary a lot during the
It wasn't
course
great.
of his...
Yeah, it wasn't a great protector.
He tried.
At times.
Let's give him some credit.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, in terms of the ending and him losing in a really unexpected way for him, how do you think that he dealt with that throughout that year where she basically
Yeah.
had no idea who he was anymore.
I think he's come to a point in his journey where he's more willing to be reliant on the people that are around him, and he has that whole speech that was really beautifully written, talking about how he was raised to be this perfect creature, and has, through meeting Clary and through his journey with Alec and Izzy and Simon and Magnus and all of the guys in the story, and Luke in a big way as well, and learning about his past with his mother Celine and where that came from and how that influenced who he was and is. I think he learned the real thorough need for being able to rely on the people around him. So I think that's probably what he did. Now, sidebar. Just to be clear, Clary did go missing a lot. But if you go back and rewatch the seasons, because we counted it for a while, there's a whole period of time where all Jace says is, Clary, no, Clary, don't, Clary, stop. And every time she just goes, up she goes, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go try and save her, otherwise she's going to be dead again. And there I go. And what happened at the end of season 2? I died. Cheers, Clary.
It's true.
She's like a dangerous person.
Jeez.
It's really true. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, next question. Over here. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
If you were on a desert island for a year and deserted,
Yeah.
what food and celebrity would you like to be on that desert island?
What food and celebrity would we bring if we were deserted on a desert island?
I would bring Dom Sherwood.
Right.
And
silly, but okay.
No, because I feel like
Of the choices.
It'd be a good team.
Yeah, Bear Grylls, obvious choice.
Oh yeah.
Like, obvious choice. By the way, he just swore. Before me, I didn't say anything yet, and he just swore. So my friends who were betting on me to swear first, I think you both just lost a little bit of money. There you go.
Did you say your food?
It's for...
Is there food available on this deserted island? Like to hunt
No,
or
none
find?
whatsoever.
You have to bring one meal.
Seeds.
On a desert island?
Yeah, you plant them. And you grow them.
In sand?
Yeah.
You're very handsome. It's okay.
Then is pregnant fish.
Good.
And let them swim in the ocean and go and fish more fish.
You're not going to swim away.
And a net.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a hard one. But
By the way, the overall arcing answer to that is we both don't survive long in this situation. Like, neither of us do well. He takes me. I brought fish that swam off, and we both die. I don't know what happens.
But thank you for that. Thank you. All right, way up in the back.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
Hi, I might be bringing up a sore point, but obviously you've both had projects that have fallen through, like Shadowhunters and Vampire Academy for you, Dom.
Yeah.
I was wondering...
Thanks. That seems like 2 for me. So that's okay.
This is a very uplifting question.
As I said, I am sorry. It could be a sore point, but are you still
No, it's fine.
Are you holding out hope? Are you holding out hope that either could be resurrected, and what impact has it had on you as people?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing to go through when you put your heart and soul into something. I think to hold out a hope for it would be, for me personally, we held out a hope and we got 3 full seasons and that was great. And now, having finished a story, to sort of be constantly holding on to the potential idea that something might be coming back is going to kind of hinder my mentality moving forwards. And I think the best thing to do now is to and this is what I tweeted when we found out that the show is coming to an end. Like, it really is important that we smile that we had an opportunity to share this, like all of us in this room, to share this wonderful thing that we all experienced together, all from different points of view and all from different parts of Australia and all over the world. We all got to experience that, and I think it's really important that we smile that it happened and that we experienced it, and not be upset that it's over, and because that's just going to hinder the positive impact that we had with the show.
And you guys, so many shows don't get a chance to wrap it up.
Right.
And you did
Yeah.
get a chance to tie the stories all together as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, for anyone who wanted to follow in your footsteps and become actors, do you have any suggestions for what to do?
Advice for up-and-coming actors.
Well, when I was in school, one of the things they talked about was being aware of the medium, in a way. So, like, if you want to be an actor, go watch as much acting as you can. In all forms, go watch a lot of TV, good TV, go watch, in which we have a tremendous opportunity right now to do so. Go watch good movies, go watch good plays, musicals, dive into it, and then also pursue it endlessly. I said a quote in yesterday's meet and greet that I saved because I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it was like, on the journey of becoming who you aspire to be, you'll be tempted to quit many times because it's going to be hard. It's going to be something you love. And every time it doesn't work out, it's going to feel like a sword through the heart. And you have to have the courage, to persevere, fortitude to persevere, and to keep saying, no, this is what I'm doing. It's not what I want to do. No, this is what I do. And I think that it's that decision in a way, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great advice. And good luck to you. All right. Next question. Up here. Hi.
Hi. If you could describe your lives as a movie or a song, which would it be and why?
If you could describe your life as a
Wow.
movie or a song.
Wow. The profundity of that question. Good grief. Hold.
Well, you could maybe start movie or song. Which would you? This may be an answer on Twitter later question.
Yeah.
Because this is really deep and
Well,
requires some thought.
Yeah,
well, also, I feel like I like to hope that it's still the very beginning. So there is that idea that I can't...
Can't fully describe it. I think, so there's something that's been happening. I've been walking into things, like, whilst here, and they've put a strip of tape up leading to our, like, green room that says, like, anti-dom impact barrier, because it's like a glass thing. And I think, so, like, right now, I think if I could use a movie to describe my life, it would be, like, Dopey storyline from Snow White.
Thank you. That's a very thoughtful
Great
question.
question.
Thank
Yeah,
you
well,
so
thanks.
much. All right, over
Hello.
here. Hi.
Hi, this is a question for Alberto. Will you ever consider making...
You got your question.
will you ever consider making any more music?
Well, yes, but at the same time, I love that I got the opportunity to sing through acting. As you guys, I don't know if you guys know, I didn't write the music that was in Shadowhunters. The music was written by Sam Hollander. And no, I need to give him the credit. He was absolutely incredible, and getting to work with him was awesome. Even though what would happen is they would send me the music, I would hear it, and then I'd go to the studio and I'd record it. And that was also a cool thing to get an insight into that world. But I definitely will continue singing. I've always sang, and I really enjoy it. But in terms of pursuing that, I feel like that as right now I'm an actor, and I need to make sure I'm putting all of my energy into being the best actor possible. And I don't want to take away from the years of training, study, work that musicians go through to get where they are. To me, it's this immense thing that I don't understand. So I don't know, what did I answer? Is that a yes or a no or a maybe?
It's a maybe.
I think it's a maybe.
I think it's a yes, but later.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Hi.
Hi. What was your favorite prank pulled on the set for anyone by anyone?
So, season 1 we had like a back and forth with pranks for a while, and mine was so simple, but I was so proud.
This was gross, yeah.
So what I did was I took like a slab of Nutella and I put it on the back of Dom's door handle for his trailer, so that at like 3 in the morning when he'd wrap, he'd go to open his door all tired and ready just to go home, and he would get a big old glob of what would look like poo on his hand. And it would just be annoying because you have to clean it up, and it's kind of sticky Nutella. It doesn't.
Especially after 4 hours.
Yeah. So that was when I was like super proud of, because it was simple. It didn't take me a long time to do, to like set up.
I like mine to be somewhat more elaborate. There's either the photo one, which was quite fun, but then kind of backfired on me a little, and then the trash can one, which was kind of grim. And I do feel a little bad about this. It was like middle of summer, and we had this like gross trash can that was full of like old bits of fruit and like food that people hadn't eaten, and like it was gross. And I thought it'd be really funny to put that in Alberto's trailer and just leave it there for a little bit, thinking that he's going to be back in sort of a half hour. And what actually happened was, and I'm like in my trailer, like, this is gonna be hysterical. And he gets all the way to his trailer, and they go, Alberto, we need you. And he goes, oh, okay. And he goes back to set, and then he's stuck there for like 6 hours, and I've completely forgotten that it was in there. So I'm sort of sat in my trailer doing my thing, and eventually comes back out and opens the door and goes, what? And I'm like, oh.
He's like, oh man, someone put a trash can in your trailer.
Wow. Yeah, so that one was pretty rough. I feel bad about that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, way up over here. Hi.
What was your favorite part of filming the series?
Favorite part of filming the series?
It was working with the people we got to work with, meaning directors, other actors, the crew. I mean, you guys saw our sets, our costumes, our props, all of those individual jobs that unfortunately don't often get enough attention. They were all so specific and amazing, and the people that worked with us were great. Like all of them. I think that's the thing I'm going to miss the most, is you don't know how often you're going to get on a job that everyone cares that much and everyone's that good at what they do and has that much fun.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's nothing more I could add to that. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Hi.
Hi. We saw you got to cuddle a kangaroo backstage.
Yeah.
Have you tried other Australian things like Vegemite or Tim Tam Slams?
So we've not had a slam yet, but we've been given Tim Tams for sure.
Yeah,
And
haven't slammed.
we have Marmite in the UK, and Vegemite is a thing that I've been having for a while. And we also had it on set because we had an Australian makeup artist, so we had that. Just P.S. Kangaroo was the cutest thing alive, but it did nip me a little. Like, and they said, and this is always like my mum can attest to this. Like, this is always what I've been like. It's like don't get too close to it because they might bite you. And I'm like, okay, no, oh my god, look how cute it is. And it was just playing, and it sort of had a little nip at me, which was even now I was just like, it's okay, you can do what you want. Look how cute you are. But yeah, the Tim Tam Slam is something I think we're gonna probably try tonight, eh?
Yeah.
Neat.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next question. Hi.
Hi. Hi. So we're positioned to hate and feel sympathy for Jonathan Morgenstern at the same time. What are your opinions as Dom and on Alberto on how we should feel about him? Because he's such a two-sided character.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about him, is that often we really like to villainize villains and really make our heroes out to be great humans, which is good. But at the same time, we have to recognize that no one is one thing. Everyone is a balance of something. And while we were able to see the hatred and evil in Jonathan at the end of his story, we also were able to see the loneliness he felt, the isolation he felt, and we were able to recognize that humanity in him. That was like, oh wow, he was just this person that maybe any of us could become if the circumstances were correct. And I think one of the cool things that I talked to Tessa a lot about this season. If you guys know Tessa, she's the one that played Heidi. We're dating. She really liked that in season 3. One of the things that I think the show does well is it puts the audience in the position of reconciling with our heroes in a way where we will villainize some parts of what happens with villains, like torture we think is terrible, but we see Shadowhunters torture a demon. And while it's a demon, it's still torture, which is still wrong. So it's that thing, we're forced to confront the fact that everyone's human in that way.
I don't like him.
Plain and simple.
He stabbed me. I don't like him.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. So
Hi.
my mom always would go on about how you are exactly how she imagined Jace to be in the book. Is there any book that you've read of a show or movie that you thought imagined a different actor to play when it did go onto the screen?
That's a good question.
That is a
I
good
think
question.
it's a question that comes up a lot, like with the born identities or like the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Girl with the dragon tattoo. Like, these are characters that people love.
I mean, the big one for me is when you read an autobiography and then someone else plays that character and you're like, well, when I read the autobiography, I was imagining Elton John because it's his story of his life. You know what I mean? So I'm not disappointed because Taron's wonderful, but I'm like, if you're talking about a direct translation from a book to a movie, I wasn't imagining Taron when I was reading Elton John's autobiography. I was imagining Elton John going through everything.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, hi.
Hi, I was wondering, is there a prop or something on set that you wanted to take but you couldn't?
Yes.
No, I took them all.
See, I couldn't carry this, but in Simon and Jordan's apartment, they had that amazing 1950s pinball machine.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
I tried to get them to ship it to me. They said no. And then there was also another early, I think 40s or 50s pinball style thing on the wall that I asked to ship to me and they said no. But those two things would have been awesome to have in my...
Oh, definitely. Great question. Thank you. We have time for 2 more questions, so we'll go over here. Hi.
So with this whole idea of hope, who do you think in the show gives Jace and Simon the most amount of hope?
Ooh.
Kind of each other at the moment. They sort of, especially in that last scene at the tail end of them training with each other at the moment, they both give each other a huge amount of hope. Alec is in his sort of newlywed stage, which doesn't mean to say in any way, shape or form that they have forgotten about each other, but it's, very important that Jace gives Alec his space to really spread his wings and be the person that he's sort of been becoming over the course of the season. Like he now has not only the freedom but the partner in life that he's always wanted. So it's important that that's allowed to flourish. And Izzy's a similar thing, but she's the head of the institute now. She's like sort of Jace's boss in a certain way. And again, not to say that they wouldn't rely on each other in any way, but Jace and Simon have ended up in a relationship towards the end where they can rely on each other. Finally, which kind of, as we mentioned earlier, was kind of always the case. Yeah. But it was, again, hidden under sort of layers of sort of stubbornness, mostly on my part. But that sort of now, I think that, yeah, maybe the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right, and our last question. Hi.
Hi. If you had the opportunity to do another season, what storylines would you have liked your characters to see and also like to act as actors?
I think season 4 should be a Simon and Jace story through the streets of New York, cleaning it up, and with instances of Malik popping in, giving them new assignments, and Izzy reining them in. Boys, you need to do better. That's what Izzy
exactly
sounds
how
like.
she sounds like in season 4. I completely agree, except I would call it Jason Simon.
Simon and Jace sounds better.
Just that little switch, yeah.
Okay, we had
Jason
this debate
Simon.
earlier. Really quickly, show of hands. What sounds better? Simon and Jace? Jason Simon.
Whoops. That didn't go the way you thought it was going to, did you?
Thank you.
No, you guys, thank you for that question, and thank you guys for coming, and thank you too.
Thank
you
you very
guys are
much.
amazing. I hope you guys had fun. One more big round of applause. Dominic, Sherwood, and Alberto Rosende.
And also, can we all just big round of applause for Claire as well for
Yes.
looking after us for 2 days? Thank you very much.